So we begin with pitfall number 1, implementing IUID and RFID as a stovepipe. This graphic really will illustrate for you the interdependencies of the way data and of the way property or specific products or assets flow, whether it's a subcontractor coming to you as the prime, or whether it's you shipping your deliverables off to the government, and how they flow through DCMA. In this particular instance, and as always, the prime contractor has the ultimate responsibility for that electronic reporting of IUID data along with shipment data going through to the government. The subcontractor obligation typically is a flow-down requirement coming from the prime saying that you must mark according to these IUID requirements. And so as you think about the subcontractor responsibilities you have for those that are reporting from a sub to prime obligation, you've got to think about the terms that you're flowing down to them. And MIL Standard 130, as that obligation for IUID, should be squarely in what you're asking your subcontractors to do. It's the DFARS clause 252.211-7003 that will define this obligation for you. But these WAF, or IRAPT, registrations along with RFID data will then flow along with the shipments via DCMA, who will make sure that upon inspection they get everything along with the deliverable, including the assets being marked and the shipments being marked according to these auto-identification standards. If you're a contractor that's responsible for government property, this DFARS clause, the 252.211-7007, which is a reporting obligation, will require you to report your property through to government. This is really where a significant press is being put forth by OSD to make sure that all government property, whether it's serialized or non-serialized, is being reported through to the IUID registry, that government system. Of course, when property is shifting from one contractor to another contractor or from a contractor back to government, also those are transactions that would require reporting and even marking according to these IUID obligations. So another reason not to stovepipe these responsibilities is to look at the cross-functional responsibilities within your organization. There may be one person that's handling it all inside your organization, or you may have various departments based on the size and complexity of your organization from an org chart. You've got program and contract management responsibilities who are there to ensure that the deliverables are being met and that compliance obligations are being met. You have IT departments that are they're very interested in understanding the data and the application management obligations in order to meet those contract requirements. You have a production department. They create, typically, manage, and submit and report this very specific deliverable IUID data, where you're coupling the actual UID along with part number, serial number, other asset pedigree that are going to live with the life of this particular asset as it's being tracked from cradle to grave. Property management has a very prominent position on this now that they can't report their property in aggregate and they have to get very specific down to the exact IUID and that obligation. So they need to create, manage, and submit reporting IUID data to the government. There may very well be a customer support role in your organization who needs to be responsible for the hardware, barcode scanning or RFID scanning, laser marking systems, the software that supports all of that inside your organization. You've got your engineering and quality assurance. Engineering determines the placement of where this IUID goes, the material specification in terms of what's an acceptable military durable material that's going to last the life of this item. perhaps even the specs and the label design and where you're going to place this IUID. You've got procurement departments there to make sure that purchasing of labels, software, hardware are all being done according to spec. Your manufacturing will put together the bills of material. Legal will make sure that compliance and audits are being passed without issue. Finance also has concerns about getting all of the invoicing being submitted properly so that your organization can get paid on time, and that any advanced ship notice data also gets submitted, again, to make sure that that whole supply chain transaction is smooth and frictionless. And when it comes to the government accepting in and being able to initiate payment, that's all going according to plan. And lastly, your supply chain and shipping, which is responsible for typically the military shipping labels, perhaps with or without the integrated RFID, depending upon what your contract specifies. So once again, with data and with responsibilities coming from all of these cross-functional areas in your organization, if you're here and you're the one that has been tapped to perform all of this military compliance and getting your organization in line, you have to socialize this and you have to involve others in solving this particular problem.